Hello everyone, this is BK International Talent Scout. I am the host of BK Presents on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Download Rainier Avenue Radio app for free at the Apple Store or the Google Play Store on your phone or your laptop. Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your community radio station broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Rainier Avenue Radio.world Media Network is your community radio station and digital media hub, broadcasting all over the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Tacoma, Portland, Federal Way, Kent, and all roads in between. We are proud to serve South Seattle and surrounding communities, broadcasting talk shows like BK Presents, hosted by BK Talent Scout. Hey everybody, this is BK International Talent Scout. Today, we're going to be talking about King X the Meeting, Act on Stage. It is an incredible meeting of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. King X, the Meeting. It was a great stage play that I seen last night. I had to do a review and I had to give you information from their program book. So let's dig in, find out more information about King X, the Meeting. Let's go. King X, the Meeting was directed by ISAIH Anderson Jr. for Act on Stage Theater, the explosive confrontation that never happened. Notes from the artistic director, ISAIH Anderson, said, another one checked off the bucket list. The Meeting, aka King X the Meeting, is one of the most emotionally challenged pieces I've ever had to direct. There were many times when I had to remind myself this meeting never happened, though I've been wondering for years what would it have been between the two of them, Malcolm X, MLK Jr., meeting together. Society has played a huge role in making sure we know how to separate the two men from east to west, north to south. It is what the two of them had in common that makes this story so important. It's an awesome feeling when you realize two different roads can lead to the same place, and be wise enough to know that both roads are very necessary. I celebrate this cast of actors, brand new actors, and seasoned actors presenting this incredible story, who gives us a chance to cultivate and highlight their gifts. The journey we get to take together in ministry, to me, is amazing. The joy of inviting you, the viewer, the listener, the observer, into this uncolonized pace and place and space to see our stories center stage. As the artistic director of Act on Stage, I am committed to bringing signature works of theater and programming to our city while maintaining a platform for arts of color and creatives of faith. Yes, ISAIH Anderson is a man of faith. Welcome, and please enjoy the show. Executive Director Michelle Lang Raymond said, I've sat through a number of rehearsals, y'all. King X the Meeting, and even still the story catches me off guard. And I'm struck by the truth that lies at the foundation of this fictionalized confrontation. These two men and their wives were fighting for ideas, not inventions or innovations, but simply ideas that would lead to our better shared human experience. And while we tragically lost these two icons, their ideas have continued to live, disrupt, redefine us in the best ways possible. Act on Stage is committed to the idea that the arts are a divine gift from God that helps us make sense of this human experience called life. Every production and every program we produce is based on that idea because we believe arts gives us space to see ourselves and pursue our best expressions. We are committed to producing experiences that elevate the arts, the artists, and all audiences. I invite you to follow us online. Join our mailing list and become a patron as we journey to build a new legacy where creativity creates change. We want to be a part of your family's traditions and for you to become a part of our family traditions. I experience God in the work we do. I hope you will experience God in the work we do. Enjoy the show. Michelle Lang, Executive Director of Art Acts on Stage, presenting King X, The Meeting. King X, written by Jeff Stinson, directed by ISAIH Anderson Jr. This is a one-act presentation with no intermission. Please visit our concessions and merchandise vendors downstairs before and after the show and enjoy the post-show discussion with the director and the cast. I experienced the post Q&A with the director and the cast, and it was incredible last night. Let's give a shout out to the production team. Artistic Director and Director ISAIH Anderson Jr., Executive Director Michelle Lang Raymond, Production Coordinator Gabrielle Johnson, Sound Technician Cedric Paul Thomas II, Lighting Technician Jeffrey L. Cheatham II, Set Design ISAIH Anderson Jr., Marketing Graphic Design Michelle Lang Raymond, Production Associate Jeffrey L. Cheatham II, Hospitality and Concession Services Joseph Raymond, Act on Stage Program Director Sam Townsend Jr., Act on Stage Operations Director Michael Walker, Act on Stage Accountant Patron Services Tressie Drake, Act on Stage Board President Jess Bioman. The cast: Martin Luther King Jr., played by Moses Masnosha, Malcolm X, played by Cian Good, Rashad, played by Michael D. Walker, FBI agent, played by Colin Parker Stevens, the detective, played by Josh Webb. Cast bios: Moses, who played Reverend Martin Luther King. Moses is a native of South Africa who has been living in the Seattle area for nearly 12 years. He is excited to be making his professional theater debut on Acts on Stage. Moses is committed to human rights with particular concern for freedom of conscience and religious liberty. He currently works as the Director of Development at Global Christian Relief, a faith-based humanitarian organization that advocates on behalf of persecuted Christians around the world. He has previously served in full-time ministry on boards of several organizations serving the marginalized, Moses is pursuing an MBA at Northwest University. He is married and a loving father of a 2-year-old baby. Seeing Good, Minister Malcolm X, is making his first appearance at Acts on Stage. He's a speaker, facilitator, writer, podcast host, executive coach, nonprofit leader who is driven by the mantra, possibilities over problems. He currently serves in a lead role at the Seattle Foundation and just recently stepped away from his creative vision role as executive director of Choose 180. Cian is happily married to his best friend Kimberly, practices dad jokes on his beloved kids Sam and Hope. Follow Cian on Instagram at Finding Good. Colin Parker Stevens, who was the FBI agent in this play. Colin is a native of the state of Washington and has been working on screen and on stage for over 2 decades, 20 years. Colin is committed to creating belonging to through service-based leadership with the emphasis on personal and professional coaching. Follow Colin on Instagram at TheDay1. Hey, you want to audition and be on the stage? Just go actonstage.com and audition. Cast bios continued. Michael D. Walker, who played Rashad in the stage play called King X The Meeting, is making his second professional performance, but first live on stage appearance, both with Acts on Stage. He debuted in 2020 when he joined the all-black male production of 12 Angry Men as juror number 8 during the pandemic season. The all-black male production was incredible. Michael is currently the Vice President of Employee Experience for the local nonprofit organization serving individuals with opioid addictions and social service needs. He is a kind-hearted individual that loves all forms of art and enjoys being around creative people. Michael is extremely grateful for the support of his family and his friends, and his wife is the famous Erica Walker, who sings and directs choirs all over the Pacific Northwest. Connect with Mike on Facebook. Just look him up, Michael Walker. Josh Micah Webb, who plays the detective, is making his 4th professional stage appearance with Acts on Stage. His debut role was as the lead in Pipeline. He is also a server at Classic Eats restaurant, as well as being a mentor and basketball coach at Denny Middle School International. Joshua is grateful for his family and his friends and the entire Acts on Stage family and production crew. Connect with Joshua on Instagram at TheManJWay. That's at ThatManJWay. Also in the story, you will see and hear the voice of Billie Holiday, Mahalia Jackson, Coretta Scott King, and Mrs. Betty Shabazz, the wife of Malcolm X. L. Shabazz. Staff bios. Gabrielle Johnson, production coordinator. Gabrielle is a filmmaker from South Carolina. She holds a BA in communications from the University of South Carolina, Aiken, and a master's in fine arts film from Howard University. Gabrielle has directed and produced her own documentary, Living in Silence, that brings awareness to the stigma of HIV and AIDS. She currently has a 360 photo booth business at Radically Dope 360, where she is happy to provide her services around the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Tacoma, Federal Way, and all points in between. Gabrielle is excited to grow in her career as a filmmaker and director. At radically_dope. Cedric Paul Thomas II, sound tech. Cedric is a musician who has played, performed, directed music in his entire life. He studied music and performance and theory at Shoreline Community College and has worked with multiple groups such as the Ariam Sisters, Michelle Lang and Stillwater, and many other groups, as well as his own band, Mach X. Cedric has been a critical member of the Teen Summer musical team for the last 10 years. Find him at SaidManPT. Last staff bio. Jeffrey L. Cheatham II, lighting technician. Jeffrey is an actor, children's book author, founder of the Seattle Urban Book Exchange. Since starting his acting career in 2017, he has been in a variety of local theater productions, TV shows throughout Seattle. Cheatham is dedicated to supporting the BIPOC community through his work. Follow Jeffrey's positive voice in the arts community and beyond on Instagram at Channel Chapman. Jeffrey L. Chapman II, he gave a short talk before the King X, the meeting play. And he gave a great testimony of how through acts on stage, he has accomplished his childhood dream of being an actor on stage. And to top it off, you can see Jeffrey L. Cheatham II on Tubi TV movies. That's right, he's made it to the level of Tubi TV movies. Let's go to the next section. Malcolm X said, "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." That's what Malcolm X said. Martin Luther King said, "True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice." To connect all the dots, the Seattle Opera X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X. Well, as you know, I have now seen X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X, which is the Seattle Opera. And last night, I was able to see King X, The Meeting, a stage play presented by Act on Stage. So now I have connected the anchors of the bridge and they come together as one. So, as you know, Malcolm X, activist, orator, husband, leader, one of the most misunderstood figures in U.S. history. Malcolm X was an icon of the civil rights movement. To get to know the man through a series of biological vignettes that follow Malcolm X from his interrupted childhood in Lansing, Michigan, to his tragic murder in Harlem. That's right, one stirring moment after another. is this incredible Seattle opera that I have seen. Seattle Opera has some positive numbers to share. Last season, Seattle Opera was an important contributor to the state's creative economy, civic well-being, and educational system. Last year, they created 664 jobs. They did 84 community partner engaged events. They visited 58 schools and community centers. Hats off to the Seattle Opera. And as a community engagement, the Seattle Opera presented Malcolm X's daughter on Thursday, March 7th, in a conversation at the Renton IKEA Performing Arts Center. It was amazing. I was there. I captured video. You seen them on Facebook. Hey, it was incredible. Thank you, Seattle Opera, for doing community engagement while presenting an incredible play, X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X. Let's go to some information and PSAs. Delicious pastries and snacks and beverages for the concessions provided by The Scene in South Park. Coffee Cafe and Community Space located at 1249 South Cloverdale Street. Their telephone number is 206-906-9241. Support local, hang out, or grab and go. Reserve for small events, art features, and inquire for creative catered services. Vendor pop-up opportunities. That's right, The Scene in South Park. Coffee Cafe and Community Space, owned by Jay and Michelle Lang Raymond. They are so cool. And Michelle is the executive director of Arts on Stage, the presenter of King X, The Meeting. Classic Eats, full service catering, bringing the celebration to you for corporate events, weddings, trade shows, festivals, cocktail parties, graduation, company picnics, buffets, small parties, and more. That's right, full service catering, bringing the celebration to you, Classic Eats. They're located at 918 Southwest 152nd Street in Burien, Washington, 98166. Their telephone number is 206-241-6275. 206-241-6275. Their website is classiceatsburien.com. Their website is classiceatsburien.com. You can see them on Facebook and Instagram under Classic Eats Burien. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram on Classic Eats Burien. Choose 180. Stop the school to prison pipeline. Former Executive Director, Seeing Good. Choose 180 transforms systems of injustice and supports the young people who are too often impacted by these systems. Programs through our school-based diversion, internships, counseling, and other restorative programs, we support young people with the resources and the opportunities to stay in school, stay in community, stay out of jails, stay out of the pipeline. Choose180.org. Their website is choose180.org. Their telephone number is 206-457-8940. Their telephone number is 206-457-8940. Address 1416 Southwest 151st Street, Burien, Washington 98166. Quest Church, He is Risen, Easter Sunday 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Jesus-centered, multi-ethnic, affirming, justice engaged. That's right, the SeattleQuest.org. Quest Church presents He is Risen, Easter services, Easter Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. King Entrepreneurial Bible Studies. Let me say that again. King Entrepreneurial Bible Studies for people who are in faith and central to how they do business. This is hosted by Michelle Lang, Elias Bullock, featuring guest teachers and local business owners. They do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., March 14th to April 4th. Subjects include business as ministry, King Principles for Entrepreneurial Success, Strategic Thinking. Again, Kingdom Business Bible Study for people whose faith is central to how they do business. They do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. March 14th to April 4th. Subjects include business as ministry, kingdom principles for success, and strategic thinking. All this happens at The Scene in South Park. Its address is 1249 South Cloverdale Street in Seattle. That's right, The Scene. It's in South Park. It's deep in South Park of Seattle. You gotta cross the West Seattle Bridge and go deep. Easter services is presented by New Covenant Christian Center. Join Pastors Tony and Renee Morris and the New Covenant family for the Resurrection Sunday service, March 31st, 2024 at 11 a.m. Easter brunch following services provided by Miss Helen's Soul Food. Contact NCC Ministries at msn.com for more information. Their weekly gathering times. They do Zoom church every Sunday at 11 a.m. First Sunday is in person at Act on Stage Theater at 11 a.m. Bible study on Zoom on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Wow, so amazing, you guys. It's so amazing. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., January 15th, 1929, was born Michael Luther King Jr., but later had his name changed. Martin Luther King attended segregated public schools in Georgia. Graduating from high school at the age of 15, he received a BA degree in 1948 from Morehouse College at Atlanta, from which both his father and grandfather had graduated. He got a theological seminary degree. He was elected president of the white senior class, and he had a BD degree in 1951. He enrolled at Boston University, completing his residence for the doctorate. In Boston, he met and married Claretta Scott, a young woman of uncommon intellectual and artistic attainments. 2 sons, 2 daughters were born into the family. In 1954, Martin Luther King became the pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama, and a member of the executive committee of the NAACP. In December 1955, he led the first great Negro nonviolent demonstration in the United States, the 382-day bus boycott. King was arrested, his home was bombed, he was subjected to personal abuse, but at the same time, he emerged as a Negro leader of the first rank. In 1957, he was elected president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The ideas for this organization he took from Christianity, its operational techniques from Gandhi. In the 11-year period between 1957 and 1968, King traveled, spoke over 2,500 times, wrote 5 books as well as numerous articles, and led massive movements of protest, including one in Birmingham, Alabama, that caught the attention of the entire world, providing what he is called a coalition of conscience, inspiring his letters from a Birmingham jail. He led the peaceful march on Washington, D.C. of 250,000 people to the I Have a Dream. He conferred with President John F. Kennedy and campaigned for President Lyndon Baines Johnson. He was arrested upwards of 20 times, assaulted at least 4 times. He was awarded 5 honorary degrees. He was named Man of the Year by Time magazine in 1963 and became not only the symbolic leader of American blacks, but also a world figure. At the age of 35, Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Peace Prize. When notified of his selection, he announced that he would turn over the prize money of $54,000 to the furtherance of the civil rights movement. On the evening of April 4th, 1968, while standing on the balcony of his motel room in Memphis, Tennessee, where he was led to lead a protest in symphony with the striking garbage workers, Martin Luther King was assassinated. Salute to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Minister Malcolm X. Malcolm X, originally known as Malcolm Little, was born on May 19, 1925 in Nebraska. He was born in Omaha, Nebraska. As a child, his father was murdered, as were 4 of his uncles. His mother was sent to a mental institution. Malcolm was sent to a foster home at the age of 13. Malcolm was charged with delinquency and spent time in juvenile detention. He dropped out of school when he was 15. Malcolm later moved to Boston, fell further into the life of crime and committing acts that included gambling, selling drugs, and burglary. In 1946, Malcolm was sentenced to 10 years in prison for burglary. It was while in prison that Malcolm began to take a more political, religious stance in his life. He started following the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, the black Muslim leader. After Malcolm was released from prison in 1952, he was accepted into the Black Muslims movement and took on the name of Malcolm X. Due to his readings in prison, Malcolm X developed a high proficiency for public speaking and soon became the national spokesman for the Black Muslims. The philosophy of Black Muslims emphasized the need for radical separation. This proved volatile, especially at a time when the United States was pushing for racial integration. In March 1964, Malcolm X left the Black Muslims and formed two organizations, Muslim Mosque Inc. and the Organization of Afro-American Unity. After spending some time abroad, Malcolm X returned to America with a new outlook regarding race. From then on, he stated that his organizations were willing to work with beyond African American centric groups and instead welcome all races. Malcolm began progressively spreading his new message around Harlem, New York, holding meetings and speeches. On February 21st, 1965, one such meeting, Malcolm X was assassinated. Welcome to a new Northwest reality, a theater dedicated to the centering the creative talents, works, initiatives of people of color and people of faith. Your theater of choice and change, that's Act on Stage. Our mission is change lives dramatically by producing programs and performances that elevate the arts, the artists, and the audience. The vision of Act on Stage, be a driving force behind a new era and renaissance from creativity, creatives, and conversation and change. The Act on Stage promise, a regular season of high-quality shows and events, consistent cultivation of new original works, professional programs develop new talent, intentional community engagement, commitment to equity in personal pricing and practices. Hey, that's Act on Stage. Again, actonstage.com. Their phone number is 206-712-6822. This is BK International Talent Scout. Hello, everybody. That was our presentation and the reading of the program book. I hope you like it and I hope you share it.